last song for the station, and then we'll get rolling. Yes, I got a meeting with some of the people from that convention. I called them up, and they told me who to ask for there, and I'll sit down, tell them what I'm doing, what I need. I'm going to tell them this is what I'm doing, put a proposal together for me.
Really?
Oh yeah. They'll just send me everything.
What happened to that guy from Florida?
I'm still working on stuff for him.
Sounded like he was all excited about it.
Very, but I can't talk this. He watches these on the internet.
KPFF-LP, Pahrump, Nevada. Statements and opinions made on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its affiliates. Fighting Corruption with Anthony Greco. Fighting Government Corruption, the Real Gangsters.
Greetings from corrupt Nye County. I am Anthony Greco, and this is my show, Fighting Government Corruption. Support for KPFF is brought to you in part by Pure Communications, an internet service provider for Pahrump and the surrounding areas. Pure Communications, 702-628-5662. And good. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. And we're here again. We're going to talk about our feelings and what we think about on what's going on with the government. Not our personal feelings, but our feelings towards the government. That's Dr. Phil's program, not mine. Okay, the VA is having an event on April 19, 2019, this month. I think it's a Friday. They're having lunch for the vets and the staff of the clinic right here in Pahrump. It's hamburgers and hot dogs, and will be a Hawaiian theme. All veterans, please attend. Okay, I just love how Pahrump organizes things. And before I get into national stuff, I just want to talk about this. We have a Valley Electric meeting on April 27th. It's a Saturday. And it starts at 11 a.m. and then 11:30 there's lunch, and then the main meeting starts at 1 o'clock. The funny thing about it is we have a business expo done by the Chamber of Commerce, and that is on November 26th and 27th. Now, why would you have a business expo on the same day that everybody who uses electricity in a house is having a meeting? Who planned this out? I mean, Valley Electric's got to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. Why would they not notify each other on when events are going to be so they don't overlap? So I don't think the Business Expo is going to do good on the 27th when everybody that has electricity is going to be at a meeting. So I wish people would get a little bit more coordinated. So I want to get into a little bit of national stuff. And what's happening at our border. Last week they usually get 4,000 people a day come across our border, and 6,000 a day is considered a crisis. Well, one day last week we had 12,000 people come over the border. So President Trump is saying we're full, We can't take any more people, and he's not saying the country is full, because of course we're not, but the immigration system is overwhelmed. And you couldn't build the immigration system fast enough to take care of this problem. So we have to shut the border down. It's just that simple. We don't know who's coming in here. There's probably a lot of good people running over here looking for jobs and everything, but what they're running away from didn't happen last week. It's been happening for years. So why didn't they put in their paperwork to come here legally with a visa and work on becoming a citizen? So there's a coordinated effort to break our system down. And let me explain what that means. Barack Obama, when he was a college student, went to Columbia University in New York City. And two of his professors, their last names are husband and wife, but their last names are Cloward and Piven. Okay, that's their last name. And Cloward and Piven and they teach how to destroy the system that we have, because they're socialists, they want socialism. And how you destroy the system so you could change it. When you destroy something that's there, when you want to change the system, well, why would you change a system that's good? So you have to overwhelm it to take it apart. Now, what's happening right now? That system is working, right? We're being invaded by refugees, or you don't want to call them illegals anymore. That term is worn out. So we're being invaded by refugees. And why is that happening? Well, it's happening because they're trying to overwhelm the system to take it apart so we can put something else in place. That's why the progressives in Congress want no borders, because they want to overwhelm the system so they can replace it with a 1984 system. You know, Brave New World, 1984. And that's what they want. They want some of us to be the drones that do the manual labor, and then they want some people who are the elite, and they're going to control everything. And I keep saying elite and everything like that, and people think, well, you know, I don't understand what you're talking about. What you're talking about is the elitist of a ruling class, and we talked about that before. But Cloward and Piven have been in the system for a long time. They had, President Clinton gave them the highest award that a non-military person can get by the government. And Cloward and Piven, I have the video of it, that Cloward and Piven got these awards from President Clinton. Okay, before I go to the next topic, we'll take a call. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Anthony, it's Louis DeCanio.
Hey, what's cooking?
Okay, the first thing, when you were talking about Valley Electric, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the new CEO that's taken over everything says he's going to be open and he's not going to hide nothing. Well, it's very simple. I was at two of the meetings at the Valley Electric on 372 recently.
Right.
And a very simple question, which he didn't answer either day. I asked him, where did the money go that Tom Houston said we had? Where did it go? And every time we asked the question that he didn't want to answer, well, the lawyer said this, and he's always brought up a lawyer to say that he didn't have to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he answered the question about the money, maybe everybody wouldn't be beefing. See, but I know where the money went, okay? Not exactly, but I know how the people in power steal everything, manipulate everything. It's been going on forever. So when he tells me that he's going to be open and everything, and then he says, well, we're still looking into that, so we can't answer it, he's no different than the rest of them, okay? But anyway, that's my feeling on Valley Electric.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as like the border goes, we have laws and rules for immigrants. It's that simple, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you have rules and laws, those rules and laws are for everybody, not just somebody, okay? If you're going to tell some people that these are the rules and laws you have to abide by, and then tell other people, no, you don't have to abide by those laws, that is a slap in the face to every legal immigrant who did things legally, okay? It's almost like playing poker, and all of a sudden, you have a pair of aces, and he tells you, oh, by the way, in this particular hand, your aces don't beat his 2 4s.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make any sense. You can't flip-flop the rules. Once you make the rules, if everybody abides by the same rules, there is no beef, okay? It's
Right.
that simple. Now, if I was in charge of the whole country here, when somebody, if I had the authority, when somebody came across the border illegally, I'd walk him right back to the border and push him right back into Mexico, and you see how fast illegal immigration would stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mexico wouldn't want all them illegals stuck on their side of the border.
Right.
Okay? It's that simple. Now, you don't have to close the border to stop people from running across it. You can let cars and trucks, and you can check them to make sure that they're not loading up with people. You can make sure that the people in the cars are legal and everything, and the trucks have or whatever products or we need. But like I said, the whole system lacks common sense. But you know something? It's almost like when you have an issue and you put it in front of 2 lawyers, 2 Harvard lawyers. You could take 2 Harvard lawyers. One is for the prosecution, one is for the defense. They look at the same instant and they both see it totally the opposite because they benefit by looking at it opposite. They're not looking for a solution. They're looking for it to justify how everybody could make money off it. If certain people couldn't make money off of all the illegals, they would stop it. But there's certain people that make a lot of money off of these people coming in illegal, while other people are getting punished by it, okay?
Right.
Not every illegal is here to get a job or whatever, and if they are, that's fine, but go through the process. The problem is we're ending up with illegals that are gang-related, they're with drugs, and they're with everything else. And the bottom line, if they want to solve the problem, make sure that everybody follows the rules, everybody equally. It's that simple. Not 2 sets of rules, 1 set of rules for everybody. And that's my comment.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony?
Thank you.
I'll let somebody else call in, and you got a good show, but that's how I feel on things, okay?
You got it.
All right, you take it easy.
Okay. See, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the rules will work if they follow the rules, but the problem is the system is so overwhelmed we can't even stop them all from coming. That's where the problem comes. And there's a reason. It's not just money. The people who don't want borders want the power over it. And usually immigrants go to the Democrat Party, which is the Progressive Party now. And that's the way it is. I mean, my grandparents were all Democrats. I was a Democrat when I first registered as a voter. I became a Republican at 21. I went into business at 20. I realized that the Democrat Party in New York wasn't for business people. They just wanted to take everything that I had. Well, not everything, just enough so I could stay in business and keep giving them more money. So that's the reason. And talking about New York City when I was in business, New York City, Bill de Blasio, their mayor, Bolshevik Bill, wants to have a tax on anybody driving in New York City below 68th Street. If you drive below 68th Street, all the way down to the ferry, South Ferry, there will be a tax on your vehicle to drive in that area. It's called, I forgot what Vinnie Turner told me, it's called, it's some kind of tax because of the amount of people that are coming in. So, into that area. Now, what's going to happen, all the businesses are there. Restaurants, of course, is a business, but different types of business. People who make things. What's going to happen if every vehicle gets taxed to come into those areas? That means all the products that they make, that they're getting supplies for, will have to charge more and more money. And they don't realize that everything, you cannot keep raising the prices of everything. People are going to have to start doing without. And Bolshevik Bill wants to throw his hat in the ring, or beanie in the ring, You know, those beanies with the propellers on the top, because he's a moron. And he's going to also look to run for president. I think what they should do on the Democratic side is just name the people who are not going to run for president. It'll be a smaller list. So the idea behind the progressives is tax, tax, tax until you don't have anything. If I had a business in New York, which I used to, I'm not in business there anymore. I don't want to be. I talked about that numerous times. Now let me explain. I'm going to talk about Joe Biden for a minute. And he had a comment. Joe Biden stuck up for Clarence Thomas when he was going for the Supreme Court. And Anita Hill was the one who was talking about long dong silver and all of that stuff, that trying to make, it's always that the guys they don't want are perverts, right? And Joe Biden's getting smacked in the back of the head by his own party. Because I don't think Joe Biden is as progressive as the rest of them are. And he apologized the other day, stating that he wished that he would have understood Anita Hill a little bit more. So what he's trying to say, that he's sucking up to this Me Too movement, and I used to like Joe Biden, but the problem with Joe Biden is he's trying to become a chameleon to fit into whatever situation there is. And it's a slap in the face to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, because he stuck up for him. And now he's saying he should have stuck up for Anita Hill. So, you know, Joe Biden would be a better man if he tried to stop fitting in and just be himself. Okay, I hate these politicians that will go in whatever the way the smell is flowing. And that's why I'm losing a lot of respect for Joe Biden. Not because he was just Barack Obama's vice president. Barack Obama used him because a lot of people did like Joe Biden. And I remember what he said. Well, I don't, you know, people were saying, well, you don't have much foreign affairs experience. And he said, well, I got Joe. Okay, so that's how he swayed some of the people to vote in that direction. But Joe Biden, his own party is trying to throw him under the bus because he's not progressive enough. Okay, the young people, remember, he's just an old white man, even though he's a Democrat. And that's what the problem today is. The white man is supposedly the biggest problem that this country's ever had. And that's false. And they shouldn't look at him as a white man, and they shouldn't look at a black person. He's a citizen. Does he believe in the Constitution? That's good enough. Stop, turn around. I want them to stop mocking people as this and that and that. Just, if he's looking to do something good for the country, fine. But he doesn't fit into the new Green Deal because he knows it's ridiculous. But I just want to tell you why all this is happening. Before I get into that, I'm going to talk about Jussie Smollett. Okay, the case was dropped by him. Why? Well, one of Michelle Obama's aides called, Fox, I think is her name, is the prosecutor there, state prosecutor. And she got a call from Michelle Obama, and they, for Michelle Obama, to drop the charges on Jussie Smollett. Now, that's not justice. And he doesn't want to pay the money that they said he should pay. So they're going to sue him now. So he's opening up, Jussie Smollett's a moron. He's opening up a can of worms that he can't close back up. But I'll tell you why all this is happening. I talked about Cloward and Piven, would overwhelm the system to take it down. Remember Barack Obama's Green Czar, the communist, wrote a book about communism, said he was a communist. When he went to prison, he realized that he was a communist. And his name is Van Jones. Well, where does Van Jones work now? I think it's MSNBC. And there's something that Van Jones said while he was the Green Czar, and this is happening today. It's bottom up, inside out. Okay? When you take an article of clothing and you turn it inside out, it's the same article of clothing, but it doesn't look the same. And that's what they're trying to do to this country. They're trying to make it look like the United States of America, but they want it bottom up, inside out, to change what it really is. And that's the problem we have. Remember, Barack Obama said he was going to fundamentally change the United States. And he did. He moved it closer to socialism than it's ever been. Probably even more than Woodrow Wilson in 1913. The original progressive. And we're having a problem because even the old white guy, Bernie Sanders, that's it, another old white guy. Now, why do they like that old white guy but not Joe Biden, the old white guy? Because Joe Biden is not a super progressive to change, fundamentally change the United States of America. And when you fundamentally change something, like I said, it's going to be different. It's like a shirt being turned inside out. And if you remember, when Barack Obama was running for president, he was riding in a blue and white aircraft, and it was owned by North American Airlines. And North American Airlines, I know, I worked for them at JFK Airport. I was a ground service coordinator. And they all had American flags on the tail of the plane. But when Barack Obama was flying in it, the plane that he had rented from them, it had a different American flag on it. It had the stripes, and it had a round ball with the blue in there, no stars. And that was Barack Obama's flag. And that was fundamentally changing what a campaign looked like. And it wasn't just a Barack Obama. We had Cloward and Piven involved in this. You have Bernie Sanders involved. You have a lot more people, the names that you wouldn't even know, involved in changing the United States. Now, why do we have to change the United States? Tell me what's wrong with it. I wish somebody could call me, because I'm not smart enough to figure out what's wrong here. Okay, I can't see anything wrong. Are we perfect? Definitely not. We're still a young nation. Don't forget, all these other countries are hundreds and hundreds of years old. We're only 242 years old. Okay, so we still have growing pains. We're not perfect. We probably never will be, but show me a country that is perfect. Show me a person that's perfect. We can't find any. But to fundamentally change, remember, Barack Obama said that he was going to be transparent. And in a roundabout way,